Hello, in this video I will be showing you how to set up Java on Visual Studio Code. So first things first, you're going to need to go to the sidebar and go down to extensions. Once there, you should just search in Java. You'll see plenty of options, but the one that I've always used, and the one that pretty much everyone I know that codes Java on VS Code has done, is this extension pack for Java. It's by Microsoft, and it comes with a couple things like IntelliCode, language support, debuggers, project managers. So it has it all. So I would recommend you install that. It only takes a second. Yep, there we go. So once that's done, you can go to your File Explorer. We can close that. And we can go to File, New File. And you'll now see that you'll have new Java file, new Java project. I also have these from other extensions, but we'll start with new Java project, as this will allow for you to work on a lot of files in the same area once we're a little bit further down the line. So we'll do new Java project. It'll ask you if you want any build tools such as JavaFX, things like that, just to make it'll help you set up things, make your life a little easier. But we're just going to work directly with the source code without any build tools. It'll then ask you to select a project location. This is just my OneDrive. That's fine. So I'll select that project location. It'll now ask for a project name. So we'll do Hello World Project. Click Enter. It'll now create the project. So if we go to the project, you see you have .vs code, we have lib, and we have source. So if we go to the README, you'll see that pretty much source is just a folder that is meant for any work that you created. And then lib is just dependencies, so maybe outside things you can put in the lib folder. And then all compiled output files will be in a bin folder. We haven't compiled anything, so it doesn't exist yet. And you can see like the settings and other information here. But for now, we're just going to go to source, and you'll see that there already is a source file. It's app.java. So we click that, and conveniently, it already has a hello world. So that's nice. But if we want to run this now, we can either go down to the main, and it'll recognize that we're on a executable line, and you can click run or debug from there, or you can always just go up to the top and run with debugging or run without debugging. I'm going to run without debugging, and you'll see it looks for the files, finds them, and prints out hello world. So that's great. Another way, if you lose your terminal, you can always do new terminal, and then you can run it again using this method. Either way works, and it'll reload your previous run. So with that being said, if you wanted to add a new file, so let's say I wanted to add a second file to this project specifically, I click on source, I click new file, it'll have a text entry line. So we'll name it test, then we're going to want to put .java. Oh, .java. And when you create that, you'll see that it will make a new public class called test. And so if I want to make a main in here, I'll type public, and there you go. You can once it recognizes that you're using Java, it'll start to fill things in for you, which is really convenient. So if you don't feel like typing out the main, it'll recognize, hey, this file doesn't have a main. Do you want to put a main in? And it's that simple. But yeah, that's the basics of projects. So now I'll show what happens if you don't go through a project. So if you just do new file and just do a new Java file, you can pick, do you want a class, an interface, an enum, or record annotation abstract class? We're going to do a class, and we're going to input the class name. So this will be independent. That's a big word. And it'll make that. Now, because we already had the project open, it'll automatically put it in that project. And like I said, it'll recognize that we're in a Java project. So if I type in public, there we go. Now, let's say you wanted to do this without a project. Let's say you want to do this, just make a file, make a Java file and run it. You're going to have to close the project, and I will do that real quick. All right, now that the project's closed, we can make a file outside of a project. You can close the project pretty much any method you would close out of any other project in any other language on VS Code. The reason I just didn't show that is because I wanted to remember to delete that folder, because I prefer not to have hello world in my OneDrive just chilling. So if I do new file, I do new Java file this time, it'll make a random Java file with a main. or the name of the class's main. It won't have actual main. So you'll have to add that. And you'll notice that this time around, it is not just filling it in for me, which isn't fun, but it is what it is. If you're outside of a project, it just doesn't instantaneously recognize like, hey, they are working on a Java file. But once you get that set up, you can begin typing in whatever you want inside of your main function, and that'll work. But before you can run, you have to save. So you do Control S or File Save As, and we'll just name this Hello World. Save it as a Java file. And once that's done, you'll see, okay, now we have run. Now, because we saved it as a Java file, it'll recognize that it's Java, and it'll work. So I would always recommend just saving it beforehand so you can save yourself some time. But if you don't mind and you aren't sure if you're actually going to save the file, you don't have to. But that's what I do. And then from there, you can do system.out.println hello world. So as you can see, it now recognizes it's Java because it's saved as a Java file. But until you save it, it will not recognize it as a Java file. It'll just think you're writing code, even if you do new file, Java file. So you'd think it would, but it doesn't. So yeah. And then like earlier, you just click run. And there it is. So yeah, those are the two ways you can make Java or work with Java once you have the extension. And there's plenty of settings you can mess around with these extensions. They all have their own settings. You're going to find the extension. I just always go to the extension pack. You're going to click manage. You're going to click extension settings. And so you can see the pack settings. However, if we want to get into the actual, like most of the settings, you can go into this extension, specifically the Red Hat, click extension settings, and you'll see all these different startup options, project imports, pretty much anything and everything. If you go to some of the other extensions in the pack, you'll find they have their own settings as well. But this is the one that does most of the things